Deep within the mist-shrouded Carpathian Mountains of Transylvania, a secret lies buried, one that time itself has tried to erase. This is the story of the Vanished Monastery, a place that exists somewhere between history and nightmare. Our journey begins in the 17th century. A secluded order of monks, driven by a thirst for forbidden knowledge, founded a monastery far from the prying eyes of the world. They devoted themselves to ancient texts, hidden rituals, and esoteric arts that the church had long since condemned. The local villagers, living in the valleys below, whispered tales of strange, ethereal lights flickering from the monastery's windows at night. They spoke of eerie, resonant chants that seemed to drift on the wind for miles, carrying an unsettling power. For decades, the monastery thrived in its profound isolation. Its library grew, filled with manuscripts and relics of immense, forgotten power. Some whispered that the monks had discovered the ultimate secret, a method to peer beyond the veil separating life and death, to communicate with forces that dwell in the unknown. They weren't just praying, they were communing with something else entirely. Then, one particularly harsh winter, an unsettling silence fell over the region. The ever-present chanting from the monastery ceased. The dense forest that encircled its stone walls grew unnaturally still, as if holding its breath. Hunters who dared to venture near the perimeter reported seeing things that defied explanation, shadows that moved with a mind of their own, detaching from the trees to slither across the snow. They spoke of a cold so profound it pierced through the thickest armor and chilled the very marrow in their bones. This wasn't the cold of winter. It was the cold of the grave. On a moonless, starless night, a lone messenger from the royal court arrived at the monastery's gates, seeking wisdom from the famously knowledgeable monks. He was never seen again. His horse was found weeks later, wandering aimlessly, its eyes wide with a terror that never faded. Fear and wild rumors spread through the villages like a plague. Had the monks' insatiable curiosity finally backfired? Had they summoned a power too ancient for any mortal to control or even witness? The most chilling theory was that the monks themselves had been transformed. They were no longer living, but not quite dead either. They had become eternal, spectral guardians of secrets that should never be unearthed by humankind. As years turned into decades, the monastery began to fade, not just from memory, but from reality itself. It vanished from maps, was struck from official records, and became a ghost story told around flickering fires. Yet, the tales never truly died. Travelers passing through the remote mountain passes would occasionally report seeing it. A sprawling, Gothic structure of dark stone, appearing suddenly at dawn, only to have completely vanished by dusk, leaving behind nothing but trampled grass and a lingering sense of dread. Those who claimed to have dared to enter during these fleeting appearances told of a place that defied logic. They described corridors that twisted and turned in impossible, non-Euclidean angles, leading them in circles. They saw frescoes on the walls, whose painted eyes seemed to follow their every move, filled with an ancient, sorrowful wisdom. They found inscriptions in forgotten languages that shifted and changed their meaning right before their eyes, as if the very stone was alive and speaking. In 1692, a determined historian and scholar, obsessed with a legend, set out to document the monastery once and for all. He found it, just as the legends described, materializing from the dense fog. His journal, later found abandoned in the woods, paints a terrifying picture. He wrote of a grand hall where candles floated unsupported in mid, casting a ghostly light on faces that weren't really there, flickering, translucent visages that watched him in silence. He described a library, unlike any on earth, where ancient books whispered secrets in languages he couldn't comprehend, their pages turning on their own. And in the very heart of the monastery, he discovered a hidden, circular chamber. From its center radiated a pulsating, silent energy, a low hum that he felt in his teeth and bones. It was, he wrote, as if the entire building was a single, living, breathing organism. By the time the historian tried to leave, he found the great wooden doors he had entered through were gone, replaced by a solid wall of cold, sweating stone. The monastery, he realized, was a trap. Its shadowy walls seemed to stretch and contract, the corridors shifting, the shadows themselves deepening and swallowing the light, and him along with it. When a search party of villagers finally reached the location he described, they found only snow-covered ruins and the faint, haunting echo of chanting carried on the wind. His journal was the only thing left of him, but the legend persisted. Through the centuries, soldiers on patrol in the region during various conflicts reported encounters with spectral figures in tattered monastic robes, moving silently among the collapsed arches of the ruins, their faces hidden in deep cowls. Modern explorers and thrill-seekers have claimed to have seen these ghostly monks, still performing their ancient rituals with artifacts that glow with an otherworldly light, completely unaware or uncaring of the passing centuries. They exist outside of time. Recently, historians sifting through dusty archives have unearthed fragmented manuscripts that speak of the Vanished Monastery. These texts corroborate the legends, describing a library of forbidden lore, halls filled with an unnatural light, and monks who had achieved a terrifying form of transcendence. But every single one of these records ends with the same stark warning. Do not seek what was hidden, for those who enter its walls may never return. Today, deep in the fog-drenched mountains of Transylvania, the mystery endures. Hikers and adventurers occasionally stumble upon crumbling stone foundations overgrown with thick ivy, strange circular patterns etched into the ground, and an eerie, profound silence that chills the soul. But no matter how carefully they mark the spot, if they return, it's never in the same place twice. The ruins move. Some theorists believe the monastery now exists in a pocket dimension, a fold between time and space, appearing in our world only when it chooses, and only to those it calls. Its secrets are forever locked away, guarded by whispers, shadows, and the ghostly echoes of an age long forgotten. The Vanished Monastery of Transylvania remains one of the darkest, most compelling enigmas in European history, on ancient, living mystery that no mortal has ever truly understood. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the unknown. If you enjoy exploring the world's greatest mysteries, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an adventure. Until next time, stay curious.